I'm Congressman Jim McDermott, and I want to thank Michelle, and the other presenters for inviting me to participate in this event. To be among the global leaders in this epidemic is really an honor. I'm a medical doctor, and I've been involved with HIV since almost 30 years ago when I was living in Kinshasa. I was there at the beginning of the epidemic and saw it when it was a day of death sentences to everyone who had the disease. So watching the epidemic over the last 30 years has been really an increasingly pleasurable experience for me, because I remember when it was really bad. We've still got things to do, but we can see an AIDS-free generation ahead of us in the future. And PEPFAR is, I think, the essence of that, and I'm pushing into Congress to keep the money there so it will go forward. I'm particularly pleased to see this event in Washington, D.C., because I always thought the travel ban was baloney, and we should get rid of it. And we finally did. Michelle at UNAIDS has done a tremendous job. And this Red Ribbon Award, which recognizes the most outstanding community-based responses in AIDS in 2012, is a real honor. I understand it is the leading award for innovative communicative service in communities. I spent a lot of time in the developing world. I've been in 90 countries around the world. And I know that $10,000 goes a long way in a lot of places. So I know the funds will make a couple of worthy organizations have the ability to extend their arms to more people. The following awardees fall under the category of treatment, cure, and support. These groups have provided outstanding care for those living with the virus and for many dying with the virus. I'm pleased to present the first award to Kenya Hospices and Palliative Care Association. As a medical doctor and a lawmaker, I've been active in not only HIV and AIDS, but also the issue of end-of-life care in the United States. This is such an important topic because we all die eventually. Woody Allen said, "Nobody gets out of life alive." But these groups, not everyone is able to die with serenity and dignity. And what these groups have done is set as a goal that everybody should be helped through this tough passage in life. The prevalence of AIDS and HIV in Kenya remains stubbornly high, so not surprisingly, a hospice care is invariably a major service to people who are dying with AIDS. In fact, 27% of the hospice patients in Kenya die from AIDS. This is a very special type of work, helping people die with dignity. And I believe it has a real spiritual dimension to it, because you are helping people in the most difficult thing that we as human beings have to face. In 2007, Kenya Hospice has trained over 1,500 Kenyans, healthcare professionals in palliative care. In 2011, they launched a program to establish palliative care units in a number of hospitals nationwide in Kenya. They also launched Kenya's first national curriculum for palliative care in partnership with the Ministry of Health. As they advocate for access to pain-relieving medications as a human right, analgesics such as morphine, they are radically expanding the capacity to ease the pain of those who are dying. It is a noble and humane contribution, and we thank you for your efforts. The second group receiving an award in this category is the Positive Women's Network, based in Sri Lanka. PWN was established in 2009. It runs 2 drop-in centers that are operated by women living with HIV, for women living with HIV. This is very important. We face so many challenges in fighting the epidemic, but I can't think of a more pernicious one than the stigma and discrimination against people living with AIDS, particularly women. According to UNAIDS, Sri Lanka has a relatively low level of HIV, but In the report it says, quote, underreporting of cases is due to low knowledge about how HIV is transmitted and barriers to seeking services due to stigma and discrimination. This discrimination often prevents people from getting tested and for getting care. It can literally cost people their lives. On the other hand, we know that you have a safe place where you can get educated about your condition and get confidential support that literally saves lives. Heterosexual transmission is the overwhelming dominant mode of HIV transmission in Sri Lanka, so it is fitting that UNAIDS recognizes such a top-notch program that is focusing on the care of women. Thank you, and my congratulations to the groups involved.
Treatment, care, and support. And the first winner is Kenya Hospices and Palliative Care Association. And the second winner in this category is the Positive Women's Network, PWN Plus from Sri Lanka. And coming to this, a round of applause before he has to leave for Congressman McDermott. Thank you.